Hello, good morning, Mwanzuka Bwanji. Welcome to the Malawi-UK Business Group's Agro-Business event. I'm David Hope-Jones. My day job is as Chief Executive of the Scotland-Malawi Partnership, but I'm delighted to also sit on the executive of the Malawi-UK Business Group. The Business Group is a collaborative of civic and business leaders who are coming together to, on a voluntary basis, support business interests in the bilateral relationship. In a moment, I'm going to pass to my colleague, Alex Sukali, apologies, to Alex Sukali, who'll tell you a bit more about the event and what we hope to achieve today, and then to Edgar Chibaka, who is the chair of the business group, and he will tell you a bit more about the group itself and what we're hoping to achieve through events like this. My job, I suppose, is purely technical and administrative. I came on a little bit later in the organizing process, and have been asked to use the Scotland-Malawi Partnership's facilities and capabilities to support this as an entirely digital conference. So I suppose that means I'm the one that gives the boring admin announcements at the starts, cajoles speakers to keep to time, and generally tries to keep the thing on track. And I thank you in anticipation for your support in that endeavour. Probably the most complicated bit of what we're going to do today is the breakout groups, but I'll explain more about them when we get there. First, perhaps a few points of just housekeeping. As I think you should have been notified already, we are recording the main plenary meeting and some but not all of the breakout groups. So please be aware this is not a private but an open space, and those recordings will be available after the event. In the interest of connectivity and bandwidth, particularly our friends from Malawi, perhaps please do in the plenary keep your videos off and keep yourself muted during the plenary. But in the discussion, in the discursive bits of today, please do pop your video on so we can see you, and any speakers or questions being asked, please do have your video on. Hopefully everyone here, however you booked to attend, has received an email from me with the final agenda, version 4 this morning, and also the attendee list. Craig, can I ask in the chat box that you share a link to those 2 documents? So if anyone doesn't have those, you should be able to get those in the chat box now. My colleague Craig is our technical support. He appears under the name Event Admin. So if you have any problems through the day, you can private message on the chat box Event Admin in the plenary space, but not in the breakout groups, and he will do everything he can to support. Please do use the chat box right through the day. I'll talk more about this later on, but we really want it to be useful, interactive, engaging, and with some really quality networking. So please do look through that formidable Excel spreadsheet that I emailed, which shows who's here and what people want to achieve and what people are doing and what opportunities people have, and use the chat box as the equivalent of giving someone a business card if we were meeting in person. So do direct message individuals, have your own conversations, and make sure this event works to achieve what you want it to achieve. There are no coffee breaks, lunch breaks in today's proceedings, and the breakout groups are very flexible. You have every opportunity to be able to stop at any time and have a comfort break or grab a coffee. So do use the breakout groups as a break as you wish. And again, just to emphasize, my job is the slightly thankless job of keeping us all at the time. So my apologies in advance if any of the speakers are asked to stop a little earlier than they would like. And I suppose final point from me in opening the day is just to say credit to the organizers, I think, who have worked on a voluntary basis to set up such an exciting, high-profile event today. I would be astounded if at the end of our exciting event, everything had gone to plan and all speakers were there. If when I turn to a speaker, they're not there, I'll ask, because it's not always visible whether they're from their name, whether they're in the meeting or not. And if they're not, we'll go to the next speaker and then come back at the next available opportunity. So if you're a named speaker and we've missed you, don't worry, we will provide the opportunity to come back to you, but you can message me at any point. And I think that's all of the sort of boring admin bits. So delighted now to pass to the Secretary of the Malawi-UK Business Group, Alex Sukali, to tell you a little bit more about the event today. Alex, over to you. I think you're on mute, Alex.
that better?
Yes.
Yep, thank you so much. The Honorable Minister of Trade, Sosten Gwengwe MP, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Agnes Nkusa MP, the British High Commissioner to Malawi, His Excellency Edgar, distinguished panelists, fellow participants, all protocols observed. I welcome you to this event, which has been a long time coming. Following the UK Africa Trade Summit last year, we've been working on how we can gain from the contacts we made through that time. And looking at the Malawian landscape in the agro-business sector, we saw that this is an area where we can have an immediate impact if we can put things together. So in that regard, we organized this meeting where we are hoping to bring together the agro-business sector in Malawi with the investors and partners in the UK for ease of access to funding, and also to open up the markets, the UK markets, for Malawian products and produces. And also we intend to improve the agro-processing subsector in Malawi, and hoping that from this we can achieve those goals by setting up some processing factories in Malawi. All this will only be possible through our work together. And in this regard, we are really appreciative of your attendance, and we look forward to having a fruitful discussion. Thank you so much.
Alex, thank you very much indeed. Now, I appreciate there was some audibility issues there looking at the chat box, and I think not everyone heard everything that Alex said, so my apologies for that. If that continues to be an issue with other speakers, please do exactly as you did, flag the issue on the chat box, and we will work behind the scenes to try and resolve it. But perhaps, Alex, if you're happy to put into the chat box some of the key points that you made there, recognizing that I think not everyone heard your valuable contribution. I wonder if I could turn now to the chair of the Malawi-UK Business Group, Edgar, to tell us a bit more about the group and where he wants to take it under his chairmancy. Edgar, over to you.
Thanks so much, David, and honorable ministers present here, Your Excellencies, the High Commissioners to Malawi and to the United Kingdom, ladies and gentlemen. The Malawi-UK Business Group has been in existence now for a number of years, and you are most welcome to this event today. It's one of the key events that has happened over a number of years, and it's a climax of our interest to see investments and trade flow between our two countries. There are so many opportunities on either side, but unless we are being brought together, these opportunities, they exist and they will be taken up by others. It is our interest to see that trade and investment grows between the two countries. The two countries, they go back a long way. We all know the histories between the two countries, and we want to build on that. There should be more business, trade, investments between our two countries. And I do know it is in the interest of the Malawi government and the interest of the UK government that the two countries indeed do greater levels of business. Now, the key elements to the Malawi-UK Business Group has been to create and facilitate business opportunities. If business opportunities are not being brought to the forefront, the business community in UK will not know what the business community in Malawi have to offer. And this is a platform that we want to utilize and bring those opportunities to the forefront. And again, we're looking at business linkages. There are businesses in Malawi who are looking for capital or investment opportunities. They're looking for markets. And our counterparts here in the UK, they're looking for those great products which are grown in the best hills of and the best plains of Malawi. So we know that having existed now for a number of years, the business group has to transition. And under my chairmanship, I'm actually overseeing the creation of the UK Malawi Chamber of Commerce. and the registration is underway. But a few issues to do with a bit of bureaucracy. We all know that. We have all been sometimes victims of bureaucracy. But the process is underway, and I do hope that the next event that this group is going to undertake will be carried out as the part of the UK Malawi Chamber of Commerce. And we will be having a reciprocal Chamber of Commerce existing in Malawi as the Malawi-UK Chamber of Commerce. So we are seeking for greater collaboration between our two countries. We are so happy that the UK High Commissioner is part of us, and our own Malawi-UK High Commissioner to London is part of this, because these crucial positions to the success of what goes on between our two countries. So without boring you too much, it's not about our speeches today, it's about you, the business people, to interact and ask the right questions to those who are here with us, those who are in authority, those who are involved in regulation. Ask them questions. How can I go about investing in a particular sector? And let's listen attentively to what our honorable ministers have to deliver, what our High Commissioner to, the UK High Commissioner to Malawi has to offer, because there will be some nice gems which we need to take on board as we look at it moving forward. So thank you very much, and let's enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Edgar. And just replying to a message on the chat box from Gary Banda, who's asking how people can join the Chamber of Commerce. Answering that briefly, if I may, but Edgar and Alex, please jump in and correct or expand. At the moment, it's a relatively informal entity, the Malawi-UK Business Group, and it's on a journey to become more formalized as a Chamber of Commerce. At the moment, if you'd like to be involved and you're not currently, you can contact Alex Sukali through the chat box or by email, and he will add your details to the group. But also we'll talk at the end of today's meeting about how we take this forwards. And certainly I would be very happy if you are as delegates of today's meeting, that we automatically move everyone that's attended today's meeting into the existing business group contacts. So certainly that's my proposal at the end of the day, but that's one of many things that we'll be discussing through the day. Thank you once again to Alex and Edgar. I wonder if I can turn now to His Excellency, the British High Commissioner to Malawi, David Beer, or Dave Beer, as he insists on being called. Dave, if you're there, over to you.
Brilliant. Many thanks, David, and great to see so many people on this call. With apologies, I'm dialing in from my phone, so please do pop in the chat if you'd like me to speak louder. I'm delighted to join you today for this vital session, which could not have come a better time. And I think it's fantastic to see the Honourable Minister of Trade and Honourable Deputy Minister of Agriculture, which shows just how seriously the government of Malawi is taking this, as well as the British government. As with many on this call, I strongly believe that building a more productive commercial agricultural sector and an industrial base layered around that is going to be key to Malawi's prosperity. The UK views Malawi as a priority country for economic development, reflecting its great potential for growth in precisely these two areas. And to get there, to catalyse the recovery from the current pandemic as well, it's going to be crucial to prioritise facilitating foreign direct investment, to diversify away from the over-reliance on tobacco, and to shift away from low-value subsistence crops. We think Malawi has a real opportunity to expand into high-value export crops that are becoming increasingly attractive to lucrative regional and global markets. And we've seen examples of some very successful companies doing precisely that so far, a number of whom have British links, are British, or who have had investment from the UK government. Just to give an example, a hectare of macadamia nuts, which is an area that we're particularly interested in, can realise revenues 4 times higher than a hectare of tobacco and 20 times higher than a hectare of maize. So the potential, we think, is huge. As the UK, we're committed to facilitate this growth, not least through our new trade and investment programme. This programme is going to focus on scaling up production in high margin value chains, attracting new foreign and domestic investment, and reducing the time and costs of trade. Because we think critically that even if you have a very good product, we need to make Malawi more competitive than its neighbours in order to attract this investment. We're also working with the government of Malawi to promote policy decisions that will ensure an enabling investment climate that's going to unleash the power of you, the private sector, to create that growth. Although this takes work and it takes political courage, let's not deny that. I'm firmly optimistic about the trajectory right now. We've seen the government's commitment to growing and diversifying trade, to fighting corruption, and to addressing unnecessary red tape in the business environment already. Coupled with a young, energetic, and growing labour force, I believe that now is a time to seriously consider investing. Before closing, if I could take this opportunity also to announce the launch of consultations on the UK's new trade scheme, which is called the Developing Countries Trade Scheme, DCTS. This aims to grow trade between UK and developing countries exactly such as Malawi. We're looking to make it even easier for companies to working in Malawi to access UK markets, through improving on the already very generous general system of preferences that was in place before. So to add to the tariff-free and quota-free system, we're now looking at simplifying and loosening rules of origins so that we can get even more companies working in Malawi selling into the UK market. Please do have a look at our announcements on our website, on Twitter, and so on. Do get in touch if you'd like more information. We've got an 8-week consultation out at the moment, and we would love to see companies that are Malawian or interested in working in Malawi contribute to that consultation. At the end of the day, we want to see more Malawian products on the shelves of British supermarkets. So I won't take up more of your time. The purpose of today is to have the presentations and to have the real concrete discussions and to generate relationships out of that. So I really look forward to listening to those and taking part in those. And please be assured, our door is always open if we can help. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much indeed, High Commissioner. And as I sit here actually in England and drink delicious Mzuzu coffee, I couldn't agree more that the more Malawian products we can get on UK shelves, the better. And perhaps that is the agenda that we're all coming together for. Thank you for launching that exciting announcement at today's event, and really keen to ensure that everyone's able to take part in that. You know, we've been having conversation with the UK government quite some time about how to support trade and investment with Malawi, and I think this is a fantastic opportunity. High Commissioner, I wonder if you'd be kind enough to put into the chat box some links, key links there to the consultations, and we can make sure as many people as possible take part. Also, just to flag in the chat box, Alex, the Secretary of the group, has kindly given his email address for anyone that wants to formally join the group. They're able to do so. Moving on in the agenda, we have our first keynote address, we hope, and this is from Malawi's Deputy Minister for Agriculture, Honourable Agnes Nkusa Nkhoma. Now, I know the Deputy Minister was having some challenges with connection. Can I ask, Deputy Minister, are you with us on the line? Fantastic. I can see you, but not hear you. If you unmute and then over to you, Honourable Deputy Minister.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Thank you. I'm in the village, so network is a problem. I've had to go outside, get somewhere where there's network. So please, you just have to forgive me. But thank you very much for having me. I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Is it my time to give a speech?
Yes, please. Over to you, Deputy Minister.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me welcome everyone. It gives me a great pleasure to represent the Malawi government at this prestigious event, where we will discuss pertinent issues regarding promotion of investments in the Malawian agro-business sector. Let me start by commending the Malawi-UK Business Group and all those that assisted for organizing this important function. The efforts would go a long way in solving some of the challenges encountered in the Malawian agro-business sector. Let me also extend my gratitude to all participants that have joined the event virtually. Without your participation, the meeting would not be a success. sorry, distinguished guests, participants, I'm delighted to share the opportunities and potential of the agribusiness sector in Malawi. But before that, let me highlight the significance of agriculture in Malawi. Our government recognizes agriculture not only as a livelihood for most Malawians, but also as a driver of the economy. As such, the Malawi Agenda 2063 places agriculture as priority number one in order to achieve a wealthy and self-reliant nation. The agribusiness sector in particular is a pull factor for production and productivity. Therefore, the Ministry of Agriculture promotes agricultural structured markets to establish sustainable relationships between our farmers and the market. In this regard, I will highlight the opportunities that exist in production, agro-processing, and marketing and agricultural products in Malawi. Let me first mention that Malawi is endowed with very fertile soils and various water resources, such as our beautiful Lake Malawi and Shire River being the major ones. As a result, Malawi has favorable conditions for both rain-fed and irrigated production of inorganic and organic products. Currently, opportunities exist in the production and agro-processing of horticulture crops such as bananas, mangoes, guava, pineapples, and citrus fruits. Essentially, on vegetables, there are crops like tomatoes, onions, Irish potatoes, and chilies, just to mention a few. Lately, there has been a growing demand for these horticultural crops from both the local and international markets. Malawi has also a high relative comparative advantage in cereal and legume production and agro-processing. With more investments, Malawi can competitively produce and process groundnuts, soybean, maize, pigeon peas, and various types of beans. Let me take this opportunity also to inform this meeting that Malawi is currently seeking off-takers to make contractual agreements with Malawian farmer organizations, not only for the trading of legumes and cereals, but also other products. Currently, legume and cereal produce are traded informally, and both the government and farmers realize a little more from this type of market. With regards to cannabis production, I'm pleased to inform you this forum that we have enacted the Cannabis Act to regulate the production, distribution, and consumption of medical cannabis. This provides a great opportunity for private sector investment in processing cannabis into final products right within the border of the country for both internal and export purposes. The local and international increase in demand for livestock and fisheries products indicates the need to have more players in these types of value chains. In particular, gaps in investments exist in the poultry, beef, dairy, goat, mutton, and pork enterprises. Just to make an emphasis on the agro industries, Malawi mostly trades in raw and semi-processed agricultural commodities. This entails that there is less diversification and sophistication in most value chains. Overall, there is a deficiency of investment in agro industries. Apart from agro processing, Malawi needs investments Malawi needs investments in farm production of inputs such as fertilizer and agricultural machinery. The opportunities highlighted are but some and a general representation of several opportunities that exist in the agribusiness sector. However, if there is more interest in specific areas that I have not mentioned, Let me assure you that my ministry is ready to discuss bilaterally at any time. Additionally, I also want to state that by investing in Malawi, you are also targeting the African regional market. The African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement has become the world's largest free trade area, serving 1.3 billion people across 54 countries with a combined GDP valued at more than $13 trillion. I'm happy to report that Malawi developed a national strategy under the African Continental Free Trade Area that is now being implemented across the country in cross-border trade. With a strategy in place, the nation is well poised to reap the benefits of cross-border trade through its vibrant sectors, including the agriculture sector. As I am winding up my remarks, let me mention that Malawi, just like any other country in the world, has been hardly hit by the COVID-19. Can you hear me? I'll take this again. As I'm winding up my remarks, let me mention that Malawi, just like any other country in the world, has been hardly hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic has not spared our farmers, who are the anchors of most of the African economies. It would therefore be fruitful if we could brainstorm on how best we can continue revamping agriculture, production, and trade amidst this COVID-19 pandemic. That said, I wish to commend the organizers of this meeting for the job well done, and also to extend gratitude from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Malawi, to you all. May this initiative continue to exist. I thank you all for listening. Thank you so much.
Honourable Deputy Minister, thank you very much for your excellent speech, and I know for stepping in at a relatively short notice. It was wonderful to hear from you, and I appreciate that you've made that possible against the odds. And I think it's all the more authentic that you're speaking from the village in Malawi. And I think what powerful testimony to the opportunities that digital brings us to have these sorts of conversations wherever we are in Malawi, wherever we are in the United Kingdom. So, Deputy Minister, sincere thanks from everyone involved. Friends, over 150 delegates with us, which is extremely exciting. I suspect some of you will have joined since we started. And could I ask, therefore, Craig, you to repost in the chat box the programme for the day and the event attendee list. We'll do that a few times through the day. Also to flag in the chat box, thank you, Christabel Blanche, who's flagged up Alvin Blanche Group's work with the cannabis industry. We have a panelist talking about exactly that in a moment, and a breakout group as well. But please follow Christabel's lead, that if there's anything that you think that comes up in the plenary that you want to contribute to or share your expertise or your opportunities with, please don't be shy. Use the chat box to do exactly that. The more that you share in the chat box, the more you say, hey, we do this over here, or we're looking for someone over there, the more people can then direct message you, and the better the networking outcomes from today. Friends, we're going to move on in the agenda remarkably to the minute, still on time, to our first panel discussion. We have two panel discussions today, and our first is looking at agribusiness opportunities in Malawi. We have 20 minutes for this section in the agenda, and for that we have three speakers. Each will speak for around 5 minutes or so. I'm keen to emphasize that at the end of this panel discussion, we will go into our first breakout group, in which you'll have the opportunity to go into a digital room with one of these speakers and move between rooms. So think of the questions you want to ask these individuals. Think about the things you want to discuss. Think about the contacts you want to make and the partnerships you want to explore. So with that in mind, under the banner of opportunities in Malawi, I'm delighted to introduce our first panelist in this section. It is the Greenbelt Authority CEO, Mr. Amon Mluwira. Amon, if you're there, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, David. As you have heard, my name is Amon Mluwira. I'm the Acting Chief Executive Officer for the Greenbelt Authority. So I'll talk about the opportunities that are in Malawi, especially through the Greenbelt Authority. So just a little bit of background for the Greenbelt Authority. It is a statutory body that was established by an Act of Parliament in 2017. And its mandate is to champion large-scale commercial irrigation here in Malawi. Of course, as we're doing this, we also have to do with the smallholder component in our projects. And we have got the 4 thematic areas, that's agriculture productivity and production, agro-processing, infrastructure development, and market development. And currently we have got 3 projects that are running. These are irrigation projects, commercial irrigation projects. We have got a sugar scheme in the central part of Malawi. We have got a cotton scheme in the southern part of Malawi. And we also have a greenhouse project in the central part of Malawi where we're doing horticulture projects. This year, our financial year started on 1st July. We have rolled out a project in the northern part of Malawi. That's a rice project where we want to do irrigated rice as well as rain-fed. And we will also be looking at looking for potential investors in this project. Just to emphasize that we have successfully implemented public-private partnerships. You know that public and private, they have got different philosophies. And for them to come together on one table and do one thing, it is very difficult. But with the Greenbelt Authority, we have managed to do this. And all our projects that we have implemented have been successful. And in terms of the success factors that we always ride on, first of all, there is the issue of land availability. For Greenbelt Authority, we have got land that has already been secured in excess of 30,000 hectares that are closer to water resources. And on top of that, being a public body, there is government willingness to de-risk the investment in the agriculture sector, because you will agree with me that many investors don't want to go into agriculture sector because they view it as being risky. But in Malawi, thanks to the government, there is that willingness to de-risk the investment by pumping in money so that maybe when investors are coming, they should find land that is already secured and sometimes irrigation infrastructure that has already been constructed. And on top of that, we have got water sources, and our rainfall goes between 800 to 1,000 millimeters. And just to add, there's also public-private partnership policy frameworks to guide the formulation of these partnerships in agriculture. Now, in terms of the opportunities that are available with Greenbelt Authority, as I said, we have got land that has already been secured closer to water resources that is in excess of 30,000 hectares. And we are looking at crops like cannabis, both industrial and medicinal, bamboo plantation, wheat, legumes, aquaponics, alfalfa, livestock, and other alternate projects. So you can talk of avocado, macadamia. So we are seeking investors in these areas so that we can go into these kind of projects. And maybe as I'm concluding my time, just to mention that the way Greenbelt Authority was conceptualized, it goes in tandem with the Vision 2063, the Malawi Vision 2063, which we just call MW 2063, that has got the 3 critical pillars, which are agriculture, productivity and commercialization, industrialization, and urbanization. So if you look at the thematic areas that we have as Greenbelt Authority, we find that there's an issue of agricultural productivity and there's an issue of commercialization. On top of that, we are also talking about agro-processing, because what we do at Greenbelt Authority is to make sure that at each and every scheme or project that we're implementing, there must be an agro-processing facility. So we don't just do the production of raw products, no, but we always make sure that we have got an agro-processing facility wherever we are constructing or we are implementing our project. So that's the issue of industrialization. And in terms of urbanization, which is the third pillar of MW 2063, you find that at every scheme that we have, we are creating an urban center so that we should also prevent migration to the major cities of Malawi. So David, I think should stop there. Learn of my time, out of my time. If there'll be other questions, maybe I'll take them during the breakout session. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mluwira, thank you very much indeed. And thank you to all our speakers for keeping to time so very well. And again, just to emphasize, it's a real delight today that we not only have these extremely high level speakers to present to us, but today's not just about presentations, it's about really tangible discussions to make a positive change in agribusiness opportunities between Malawi and UK. So all of our panelists, you will have up to an hour if you want to discuss with them. So think about your questions, think about what you want to speak to. And thank you again to Mr. Mluwira and all of our speakers. Our next panelist in this section is coming back to the cannabis opportunity flagged by the Deputy Minister. I'm delighted to turn to the chair of the Cannabis Regulatory Authority, Dr. Boniface Kadzamira. And my apologies that in an earlier version of the agenda, I erroneously said that it was the CEO. I understand that Dr. Kadzamira will speak as chair now, but I think we also have the CEO of the Cannabis Regulatory Authority who will join him in the discussion group. I can see from the attendees list, we've got 3 Kadzamiras, so I'm going to hope that at least one of them is Boniface Kadzamira. Boniface, over to you.
Yes, thank you very much and good morning. Indeed, I am with my DG, Dr. Salipila, and I just want to make clarification. I'm not a doctor yet. I'm just Mr. Boniface Kadzamira. But morning once again, and I would like to appreciate and recognize the Minister of Trade who is with us, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, and Your Excellencies, the High Commissioner to Malawi and the Ambassador to the UK. And also, let me also thank the organizers of this meeting. The push for the cannabis legalization in Malawi started around 2000, but it was kind of shelved and it was strongly ignited again in 2015 and adopted by Parliament in 2018. In February of 2020, the act was passed, which was assented into law by the then president in April. And in August 2020, the current Minister of Agriculture gazetted the act, making it operational. However, as you are aware, that Malawi's economy is agro-based, contributing about 21% of the GDP. Revenue from our main cash crop, which is tobacco, is slowly diminishing due to several factors. And we believe in the cannabis industry that the legalization of both medicinal and industrial cannabis will greatly complement such cash crops due to its high value. According to our Cannabis Act, the people who are qualified to participate in this industry are farmers groups, cooperatives, corporate companies, and corporate partnerships. All these groups are qualified to participate in this industry. Therefore, local farmers are encouraged to form cooperatives so that they can participate. The Act also allows research institutions, pharmacies, and other institutions of higher learning to apply for licenses. Already, some have done that. In terms of opportunities, we believe this green rush, which is commonly called, will create huge opportunities for both local and international investors. Since now a lot of companies are switching to cannabis for both industrial and medicinal use. Malawi stands at a very advantageous point due to its unique soils and climate, as the minister alluded to earlier on, and which was also reviewed during the 3-year research trials which were conducted at Chitete Research Station, as well as Chita Research Station by government when we were trying to find ways on how we can legalize the cannabis in the country. And in addition to this, you might be aware that Malawi has a unique local variety, cannabis local variety, which is well known worldwide. And we can take advantage of this and show the world the uniqueness of our famous local variety and professionally market it. Currently, the cannabis market, I think is in billions of dollars. But for Malawi to tap into this huge market, we need to stimulate trade and investment through access to funding, access to markets, focus much on value addition within the country, and also strengthening of producer organizations engaged in cannabis, which is currently lacking. And I can assure you that, as the minister pointed out, the political environment is very conducive, and we hope that through these forums, Malawi cannabis industry shall be helped to address some of these challenges. It is our sincere hope that this will not be the last engagement, but will be the beginning of more interactions. Therefore, in concluding, I would like to thank most sincerely Malawi-UK Business Group, and we are looking forward to seeing more engagement so that at least we can improve and develop this cannabis industry, which is new in this country. Thank you so much for your attention. But during the other discussions, the DG, Dr. Salipira, I think will speak more into the technical issues and answer more technical questions. Thank you very much for your attention. God bless.
Mr. Kadzamira, thank you very much again, and apologies. Being the host of a Zoom meeting gives you many wonderful digital powers, but awarding honorary doctorates is sadly not one of them.
Yeah, I think maybe somebody has just decided to give an honorary PhD for introducing cannabis in Malawi.
my wife's just finished 4 years of hard work to get her doctorate, so she'd be very cross if I was giving them out as easily.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
In all seriousness, thank you for your excellent presentation, and I really look forward to both discussions with you and with the DG, as you said, in the cannabis discussion group in a moment. I'm delighted now to pass over to our third and final panelist in this first panel discussion. It is Mr. Hope Chavula. In an earlier version of the agenda, it was Dr. Thomas Muntali, the CEO of the National Planning Commission, but we're really thrilled to have Mr. Chavula with us today. Hope, if you're there, I wonder if I could pass over to you to tell us a little bit about the National Planning Commission, and perhaps particularly Vision 2063 is the inspiring vision that the government of Malawi has set for the coming decades. Over to you, Hope.
Thank you so much, David. I recognize the Honorable Minister of Trade among us, the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, and also His Excellency, the British High Commissioner, David Beer. Thank you so much for allowing us also to participate at this forum. I just want to thank also the area interventions made by the Greenbelt Authority and also the Deputy Minister from Ministry of Agriculture. And I've already alluded to the Malawi 2063. Let me mention it is called Malawi 2063. It is not Agenda 2063. Let me clearly also just outline what are the opportunities from there. The idea is we're supposed to work together in this particular strategy, but otherwise, as a National Planning Commission, we are mandated to come up with the long-term and short or to medium-term development plans for this country, and also coordinate the implementation of the same. So basically, what is on the table now is that we've just developed the Malawi 2063, which is a blueprint that provides an opportunity for the country to define its developmental roadmap for the next 43 years up to 2063. And the vision does provide an inclusive developmental path to be achieved through strategic transformative initiatives that will change Malawi into an inclusively wealthy and self-reliant industrialized upper middle income country. So the focus here is a self-reliant industrialized upper middle income country. And has also been indicated by my colleague from Greenbelt Authority, there are 3 pillars which are supposed to drive this vision. There's agriculture productivity and commercialization. There's industrialization, which focuses on sectors from agriculture as well as mining. And then there's also the urbanization, which focuses on secondary cities. And these secondary cities are supposed to be anchored by key economic activities, and one of them is agriculture. So these pillars will be categorized by 7 enablers to make this happen. We have mindset change, effective governance systems and institutions, enhanced public sector performance, the private sector dynamism, the human capital development, economic infrastructure, and environmental sustainability. Now, when we look at this particular vision, we are going to walk through the wealth creation highway in blocks of 10-year implementation plans. And currently, we have just also developed the first Malawi 2063 implementation plan for 2021 to 2030, which has 2 key milestones. The first is to raise the country's income status to lower middle income level by 2030. This is why we're talking about the per capita income should be at least $1,000 US. And secondly, also to accelerate the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, whose end line target is 2030. So all development programs and activities for the next 10 years will align to the aspiration to build an inclusively wealthy and self-reliant industrialized upper middle income during this particular period. Now, within this particular the Malawi implementation plan, we have priority strategies and interventions. We also have come up with what we call the quick wins, the interventions that are already in the pipeline or have low cost implications or having ready finance commitment or just requiring scaling up in the next 5 years. And we also have some game changers. These are the interventions that significantly alter the way we do things, so that they can be able to transform Malawi faster in this particular implementation period. And then we also have a few prioritized flagship programs and projects that will accelerate Malawi's progress towards creating an inclusive, wealth, and self-reliant nation. Now, when you look at the agriculture productivity and commercialization, the focus areas basically, there are a few. We have one, agriculture diversification, which we're talking about here, a strong diversification of higher value crops. This is where we're talking about agriculture, livestock and fisheries, and some other niche products. For example, we have the industrial hemp that is being talked about, the flowers, the horticulture, the cereals, the legumes, the macadamia, the pulses and livestock products. These are well defined also in our national export strategy, where agriculture is going also to develop these. And then apart from that, we also have irrigation development, which is going to support the commercialization drive. And then we also have what we call the anchor themes within this particular strategy, where we're looking at the big farms, the mega farms, as well as the cooperatives that are going to generate surplus raw materials for industrialization as well. And then also the sustainable way of the high value quality input supply and access system of inputs, which are very key for agriculture productivity. And then also the agriculture mechanization for use. We're talking about the use of modern technologies, including digital. And then the structured markets, which has also been referred to. Well, we're looking at ensuring having well-functional structured agricultural markets, and also even aggregation centers, which are going really to support maybe meeting or ensuring the demand that is required, especially when you're looking at investment for exports. Within that also, we are looking at some of the institutions to strengthen them or reform them, like what we have ADMA, into a fully functional agricultural produce commercial entity with international market linkages. So these are some of the things that we are looking at in terms of agriculture in order to support high agricultural productivity and as well as commercialization to support the value addition activities as well. So within that also, when you look at industrialization, it is also based on what is happening in agriculture as well as in mining. So in agriculture, we are really talking about the diversification, value addition, and also developing competitiveness in those particular high value products. So basically, I see my time is up. These are key particular areas within the Malawi 2063 that we as government were going to drive the agenda for the next 10 years and then in meeting the 2063 agenda for the country. Thank you so much for your attention.
Mr. Chibolu, thank you very much indeed for your excellent presentation. Thank you for keeping time and providing such useful and pertinent information. Friends, that's the end of our first panel discussion. Before we move into the breakout groups, I'm keen to give some shout outs from the chat box by way of encouraging everyone to continue to use it. Benedicto Canaza was asking about whether there's access to the presentations afterwards. So all these videos will be made available. We'll timestamp them, we'll put them on YouTube. And if you've booked in, you'll get an email afterwards with links to it. If not, you'll find it on the Malawi-UK Business Group website and the Scotland-Malawi Partnerships website. Just to flag up some really interesting posts from the chat box, Sydney Chawinga talking about investment opportunities, rice processing and supply. Rahima Enterprise talking about organic poultry up in the north, down in Monkey Bay. Victoria was talking about I think it was the rice industry. Charles Howie made really good points. He's a member of the Scotland-Malawi Partnership. He's talking in the chat box there about population growth and the balance between cash crop exports and domestic food security in the medium to longer term. Excellent questions. I think his question was directed to the Honourable Deputy Minister, who isn't in a breakout group next. So Deputy Minister, if you're able to and have seen Charles Howie's question in the chat box, please do answer it in the chat box. If not, we'll try and get an answer in writing, Charles, afterwards by email. Thanks, Edwin, the president of the Youth Empowerment Forum. He's looking for youth opportunities around agriculture. Reverend Gondway's highlighted the fertilizer plantation opportunities that are there. Natasha Wallace talking about the Bean Project, looking at scaling up and diversifying coffee and hemp. Kundwani Mantali talking about potentially 100 acres that he's got that could be used for industrial hemp production. And David Smith, who's another member of the executive of the Malawi-UK Business Group, flagging his excellent Britain-Africa Business Alliance. So please do, for more information on any of those, look at the chat box and continue to use them. You can reply directly, privately, bilaterally to anyone to share your details. Any private messages, quick technical point, please do save your chat box before you leave this meeting. We will be able to share everything that's put in the public chat box digitally afterwards, so that will be saved, but we can't save your private messages. So if you make a brilliant contact today, someone gives you their mobile number, make sure you write it down, make sure you save that private chat box. We're moving now into the I suppose the sort of second half of the event, in which you'll find it eerily similar to the first. We're going to follow the same format. In a moment, I'm going to pass to our second keynote speaker, and that is Malawi's Minister of Trade. And then we're going to have another panel discussion, 3 more speakers, and then we're going to have another hour for breakout sessions. So again, if you haven't had a chance to speak in a breakout session, if you haven't had a breakout group on exactly what you wanted, please don't give up hope. There is plenty of time. We will finish promptly at 1300, 1 o'clock UK time and 2 o'clock Malawi time. But my hope, and it's always nervous when you say this in case there's a deathly silence, but my hope is that we are currently joined by the Honourable Minister for Trade, Honourable Sosten Gwengwe. Honourable Gwengwe, if you are there, please do jump in, and we would be greatly honoured to hear from you, Minister of Trade.
Thank you very much. I'm hoping that I can be heard loud and clear.
Yes, loud and clear, sir.
Thanks ever so much. Let me first recognize the chairperson of the Malawi-UK Business Group, Mr. Edgar Chibaka, the permanent secretary for Ministry of Trade, Ms. Christina Zake, the chairperson for the MITC board, Mr. Kao Chokoto, members of the Malawi-UK Business Group, senior government officials, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored today to make these remarks at this Malawi-UK Agro-Business Forum. Allow me on the onset to thank all the organizers of this event. It gives all of us renewed hope that Malawi and UK can trade more and investment can flourish even in the midst of the COVID-19 global pandemic. As the pandemic takes its toll, life and business must continue by using technology. The organizers have shown us great determination, resilience, and drive to forge ahead and make business happen, even in the most difficult of circumstances. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am particularly pleased that this event is focusing on agro-business. As we diversify the Malawi economy, it is a fact that agriculture and agro-processing will remain the main thrust of the economy for the near future. The importance of the agricultural sector to Malawi cannot be overemphasized. As most of you are aware, agricultural productivity and commercialization is one of the 3 key pillars of the Malawi 2063 vision. We recognize that improving productivity and commercializing the agriculture sector can boost incomes and spur economic growth. Achieving this requires us to enhance entrepreneurship, attract private investment into the sector, improve agricultural financing, and develop well-functioning structured markets, among other interventions. I therefore welcome this event as it is an opportunity for Malawian and UK businesses to network and interact. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, conducive trade and business policies are important for Malawi to expand her exports and attract investment into key sectors such as agriculture. My ministry is implementing quite a number of reforms and initiatives to improve the business environment. For example, the ministry is reviewing the Investment and Export Promotion Act of 2012 in order to strengthen the functions of the Malawi Investment and Trade Center. The review seeks to establish the one-stop service center at MITC. This should improve the services that the center provides to investors and traders. The National Export Strategy 2 is ready and it will be launched soon after the SADC Summit taking place next month. The National Export Strategy 2 singles out a few strategic cash crops that we would want to divert our attention to as a country. In July 2020, my ministry also operationalized the Control of Goods Act, and unlike the previous Control of Goods Act, the new COGA seeks to ensure a smooth flow of imports and exports in a transparent and predictable manner. Any measure or order for
Now, it looks as if we've lost the Honourable Minister there. I don't know if other people could hear him. Edgar, can I check? Had the Minister gone quiet for you as well?
Yes, I think he's frozen out, possibly thrown out of the meeting. I think he will be rejoining shortly.
Yeah.
Super. I do apologize. Obviously, a technological issue there. What I suggest we do is use the time just to wait. We hope he comes back in shortly. Minister, if you can hear me, please just jump in and continue your speech. I think we'd got to the point around transparency at that point. If you are around, please just jump in. Otherwise, I think we will wait patiently, but use the opportunity to write in the chat box any questions that you have for the Minister of Trade. So if you've got a question for the Minister of Trade, please put it concisely in the chat box now. and hopefully he will rejoin. We'll give it a couple of minutes, and if we have lost him, we will move on to our next speaker. But obviously, he is an absolutely crucial figure in today's discussion. So I am keen to hold on. Please put your questions for the Minister in the chat box, and we will wait for a couple of minutes. I've not heard back from the Minister of Trade just yet. Craig, could I ask that you keep a keen eye on everyone joining the meeting and alert me directly if the Minister of Trade does reappear? I think we can all empathise whether you're in Malawi or in rural and remote UK. Connections are often lost, and I'm sure he will rejoin us. But let's keep the agenda moving, if I may. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to the next speaker, and then between each speaker, we'll see whether Minister of Trade is back, and fingers crossed, he is hoping he is able to reconnect with the meeting. I know he's very keen to be involved today, but we will, rather than giving the dead air, we will keep moving. And Craig, please just alert me directly for that. So we're going to move to our second panel discussion. Like the first, we have 3 speakers, each has 5 minutes, and each of those very kindly is giving an hour of their time after this session to lead a breakout session for you to ask questions, for you to engage, for you to give your contacts, and for us to together through that build UK Malawi agribusiness. The first panelist we have is Mr. Carl Chibaka, who in some ways needs no introduction. He's the MITC chairman. I'm keen to put on record my thanks of the UK Malawi Business Group to MITC, with whom we've worked very closely in the preparation of this event. Now, I've just seen in the chat box, someone has asked, can someone say what MITC stands for? And I can think of no one more qualified than Carl Chibaka. So Carl, over to you for 5 minutes, and please feel free to start with explaining the acronym. Over to you.
Thank you so much, David. I recognize the chairman for the Malawi-UK Business Group, Edgar Chibaka. The minister, I hope that he comes back. The PS Trade, Miss Christina Zakeyu, and all you distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Malawi, MITC, as David asked, stands for Malawi Investment and Trade Center. So just from from the explanation of the acronym, MITC essentially is mandated to look at investments and trade for Malawi. So MITC was formed as an act of parliament in 2012, and essentially is there mandated to look at bringing in investments. So it's foreign direct investments, local investments, but also promoting trade from Malawi. And when we talk about trade, the emphasis is naturally the issue of exports. So as MITC, one of the things that we have in trying to meet the mandate, we've got a one-stop service center, and within the one-stop service center, there are several departments. that operate to try and make smooth the issue of investment. So we've got the registrar of companies. I think there was some discussion in one of the groups. We've got the registrar of companies in the one-stop service center. We've got the Malawi Revenue Authority. So issues of incentives and so on is dealt with. We've got the Department of Immigration. So issues of permits are dealt with there. We've also got the Ministry of Lands in the one-stop service center. All this falls under the Director of Investment. So trying to make smooth issues of investments. Talking about trade, we naturally have a department that looks at trade. So whether it is market intelligence, business linkages, we look at all of that. I can see someone saying the minister is trying to reconnect. I don't know if he's back. I can go on, David.
I think go ahead and we will turn to the minister after yourself, if that's okay, Carl.
No problem, no problem. So just to say that in terms of investments, we have stepped up the drive, and I am excited with this forum, the discussions that we are having. We have had a couple of discussions as well with the High Commissioner, Mr. Kenamponda, and other consuls within UK and outside in Europe. We are stepping up the issue of investments and also looking at some of the things that need to be sorted out, things that need to be changed in order to improve trade. One of which was naturally the issue of certification. People have talked about the issue of power, so we need to sort out the issue of power in terms of logistics and so on. So there have been discussions around all of that. In terms of investment as well, I would like to take this opportunity to invite everyone on the 5th of August to join us on a virtual meeting. We have a domestic investments forum, and at that forum, the issue of financing of SMEs and others is also going to be discussed. So the issue of gaps that are there. There is, in terms of trade, we are also participants to the Dubai Expo 2020, which will also be a virtual event that will run through from October to March next year. So there'll be there are a couple of initiatives. I think from the discussions here, we exchange contact details, and then we can follow up with updates on what is happening. One of the other very exciting things in the step up for investments is the issue that in this year going forward, we are stepping up the issue of industrial parks. So land has been given to MITC, and in some places we are in the process of attaining title to land. And within those areas, we are looking for investors who can come in and set up. So there are a couple of things that have been happening, including review of investment handbook and so on. But also the relationship building with the other entities so that we can get to the place where investments is smooth when anyone wants to come in, but also to build those linkages that allows us to increase our export base out of Malawi. So we are not just looking at the traditional crops. We are, in fact, also looking at the horticultural crops. We're looking at livestock and many other things that can be developed out of Malawi. Yesterday we were talking, there was mention of rare earth. Rare earth is something that is there in Malawi, very precious, and that's the future, electrical cars and so on and so forth. Rare earth is one of the elements. So we've got opportunities out of Malawi. Our agricultural produce is largely organic, not GMO. We have the capacity to increase production. Our issue obviously is off-taking, finding markets. So we are there to promote the trade, but also the investment. So come to Malawi, come and invest. We are ready to receive you. Through MITC, you have access to all the departments, and we are working to set the foundation in energy and so on and so forth, all the pillars that the National Planning Commission has been talking about, to put investors in place so that business can run. I hope that's within the 5 minutes, and I see the Honourable Minister is back.
Mr. Chigotho, thank you very much indeed for your excellent presentation there. And just to reiterate the date that you gave, 5th of August, the Domestic Investment Forum, an excellent event, and we all look forward to taking part. And of course, the Dubai Expo as well, October to March, a great opportunity to take a lot of these conversations forward. We will have our two other breakout our two other panelists and then breakout discussion. But I'm absolutely thrilled that we've got the Minister of Trade back. And Minister of Trade, I really must apologise. I don't know what happened with the technology, but thank you for sticking with it, and delighted to have you there. And if you can hear me, Minister of Trade, we got to, I think you just said a line about sort of transparency in your speech. And back to you, Honourable Minister of Trade.
Apologies for the technological hiccup. I just lost connectivity for one reason or another, but I'm glad I'm back. And basically, I think just to say that Malawi is open for business, and there are quite a number of reforms that are spearheaded by the Ministry of Trade, which actually is a default ministry for investors or investment as well. So there have been quite a number of activities trying to encourage foreign investment by way of direct foreign investment, but also the local investors. And here speaking to the diaspora, that there are some policy changes that are really geared towards encouraging Malawians per se to be able to participate in quite a number of investment opportunities in the country. You would know that government is a biggest buyer, so we've changed our procurement regulations to be able to give a little bit of chance and preference to the micro, medium, and small and medium enterprises through the SME Order 2020, where apart from just setting a margin of preference of about 15%, we are also encouraging government MDAs to procure certain listed products from the SMEs, so to speak. We are encouraging a lot of Buy Malawi, and the Buy Malawi works in two ways. For the locals, it's really just to encourage them to participate in the value addition. But also speaking to an investor wanting to come to Malawi, you would know that Malawi does belong to the SADC. It also belongs to COMESA. So these institutions, or these two institutions, provide a huge market where if an investor is producing within Malawi, then you're looking at a market beyond Malawi. So you'd be looking at a market in the SADC, you'd be looking at a market in the COMESA, and of late, you also be looking at the market, the Continental Free Trade Area space. So we are encouraging value addition, we are encouraging agro-processing, and we think that's where government needs to pay more attention to. It creates more jobs, but at the same time, we are strong in agriculture, and we've exported a lot of raw agricultural products. I think moving one step up the value chain would want to concentrate a lot on agri-processing. And this is really employing quite a lot of our women and youth. Let me also speak to the diaspora a little bit about the recent announcement coming from the UK. You know that with UK, we have been trading under the Everything But Arms scheme, which was a scheme under the European Union, which has been promoting exports from developing countries, especially the least developed countries. But after the Brexit, Malawi, together with 70 other developing countries, will be negotiating a new deal that has been recently announced by the UK government. And it's, I think, dubbed the Developing Countries Trading Scheme with the UK. So this scheme aims at growing trade with lower income countries and supporting jobs across the globe. It is expected that the scheme will offer countries like Malawi duty-free and quota-free status with simplified rules of origin for easier access for Malawian products. So in view of this, I would like to encourage the Malawi-UK Business Group to participate in these consultations when they commence. The UK has demonstrated its commitment to advance the notion of trade for aid. And Malawi, speaking as coordinator for the least developed countries, we are really grateful to the UK government for this development. As we participate in these consultations, it is crucial that we focus on the products, especially value-added products, which could be promoted from Malawi. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to acknowledge the work of the Malawi-UK Business Group, which was formed to create awareness of trade and business opportunities, ensure that concerns of businesses are addressed, and explore opportunities for cooperation among other functions. The group has coordinated a number of networking events, which have promoted Malawian products in the UK. The group also assisted Malawi after the country was hit by the cyclone Idai, and we are very grateful for that. We do not take this assistance and goodwill for granted. Allow me also to thank our High Commissioners, David Beer here, and Excellency Mponda in London for facilitating this event. And in conclusion, let me take this opportunity to invite members of the group to also participate in the Malawi Domestic Investment Forum, which has been scheduled for the 5th of August 2021. It's a virtual event. And although the forum is targeting domestic investors, the diaspora communities and members that already have interest in Malawi are encouraged to participate. I thought I should bring these issues before you and the strides this administration is making or is undertaking to promoting trade and investment agenda. I am with you, and if there'll be other interventions where I'll be needed, David, I'm here, and I would love to continue engaging. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Honourable Minister, thank you very much indeed for your excellent speech. And I think I speak on behalf of all of us in saying I think we're delighted that we were able to get the second half of that speech as well. So thank you so much for making the effort and rejoining. I just, I can only echo all you say about the importance of value addition and agro processing. It's a key theme of everything we're talking about today. Again, I'm sitting here drinking my Mzuzu coffee, which thanks to Eve and Joyce was not only processed but packaged in Malawi as well, and that's where we want to get to. And I absolutely agree. I think we're all excited about what the British High Commissioner said about the developing countries trading scheme. I've been in dialogue with Her Majesty's government for much of the last 13 years, talking about how do we support an increased trade between Malawi and the UK. And I think this is certainly the best opportunity in that time period. So what's great is through events like this, we've got so many stakeholders coming together, so many experts, so many business leaders. Let's all work together using those opportunities like the 5th of August Domestic Investment Forum to make best use of the potential new bilateral trading relationships between the UK and Malawi. So Honourable Minister, thank you very much indeed. Minister, while you're away, I did promise at least one question. And I think the first question that came in was from M. Thioko or Choko, I'm not sure if I've got the name right, and it was to do with freight exports. Mr. Thioko, if you're around and would like to ask your question to the Minister of Trade, you're most welcome now.
Oh, thank you very much, David. I'm sorry I can't be on video camera due to the nature of work I do. I'm in the hospital at the moment. I'm a medical doctor, but my question is really on small and medium enterprise with bilateral trade for exporting produce from Malawi to the UK market. In my own assessment, it seems as though the cheaper ocean freight is almost inaccessible because Malawi is landlocked and it is very difficult to get the product to the access points such as Durban or Tanzania. And so that leaves just the air freight as an option. However, if you want to import from Malawi in bulk, then the air freight becomes most expensive. Is there any plans from yourselves or even just from the other organizations that are to do with investments and exports that to help companies with this so that they are able not to increase the cost of the product? Because if the cost is increased, then the profit margin is diminished, and therefore the value to the businesses goes away. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable Minister, if you are happy to answer that question. I don't want to put you on the spot. If it's not possible now, feel free to give a
No, it's all right. I have the whole team, I think, lined up. But what I would say is the sentiments that are coming are true. And it's kind of like one of the constraints in doing business for us. It's a constraint that we've really been trying to deal with. But I would answer it in two parts. First part is when we're dealing with distant destinations for our exports, like UK in this case, we've tended to concentrate on high-end or high-value products, which we think, even if we use air freight, they have tended to leave a margin for the exporter. I would give you an example of one SME, which is really aggressively trying to export chili to Europe, and they're really making quite a margin, and it's still through air freight. There are companies which are doing horticultural products, like we have a company called Inoceria, which has established themselves very close to our airport, just to make sure that logistics are quick enough. So I wouldn't promise that for bulk products, the air freight is going to be the most conducive way of exporting. Definitely no. But for the high end or high value exports, we're still using the air freight. What we're doing as government is to make sure that connectivity is enhanced, so that if somebody wants to export to Europe, you don't have to go via Addis or via other places, because that just delays the whole logistical thing. So a bulk of our exports is still through the ports of Dar es Salaam and Beira. But what has really been increasing the cost is not the cost from wherever to the seaports. It's actually from the seaport of Dar es Salaam or Beira to inland in Malawi. And that is because we've used the road transportation too much. And our plan is now to reinvigorate or to rehabilitate the Nakara and the Beira routes, which are the rail routes, and this should be operational in the near future, because we've done a lot of work on our connectivity to Nakara through rail, and we've also done a lot of work together with the Mozambique side on the Sena corridor to Beira. So once we're using the rail inland and then we're using the sea freight from the ports, we believe that this constraint of making our exports uncompetitive should really be a thing of the past. I would say that that's what we're doing currently for the bulk exports, that we use the rail inland and then we connect to the sea freight, but we still have this option of air freight, and we still want to encourage direct routes and direct connectivity, so we can still trade more with Europe and many other places, even using air cargo. Thank you.
Fantastic. Honourable Minister, thank you so much once again for your excellent speech and for answering that question so helpfully. We would be delighted if you're able to continue with us in the meeting. I know there's pressures on your diary, so entirely up to you how much you're able.
No, it's all right. I'm here with you.
Fantastic, thank you. And if let's make use of the fact, friends, that we've got such a high-level panel and such a high-level speaker here. So if you have a question for the Minister of Trade that hasn't been able to be answered, please feel free to put that in the chat box, or indeed a direct message through the chat. We will return back to the breakouts, to the panel discussion too, where we had heard from MITC. And I'm keen to turn to our second panelist for a 5-minute contribution, and that is from the African Exports Import Bank Director, Mr. Chandi Mwenebungu. Chandi, if you're there, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, David. I'm here indeed. Let me thank you for inviting me here to take part into this quite a very important symposium. Let me recognize the officials of UK Malawi Business Group, the Minister, the Deputy Minister who is also here, and all the attendants and all protocols observed. I will talk about African Export-Import Bank. David has introduced me, so I'm not going to repeat that for the sake of time. African Export-Import Bank is an African bank owned by Africans and non-Africans. And I'll dive through the ownership structure in a bit. It was formed in 1994. Let me try to give out possibly some sort of historical background. If you recall, in the early 80s, there was a currency crisis in Asia, which actually sprang into Latin America and it reached Africa. And many trading partners actually, particularly those that dealt in the area of trade finance, they left the continent and the continent was really exposed as to trade. Nobody wanted to finance trade. So African governments actually mandated the African Development Bank to conduct a study of how they could actually come up with a project or an institution that would act as a shock absorber when such bad times recurred in the future. In 1987, the African Development Bank came up with actually a study paper, which was discussed by member states, all the countries in Africa, through the OAU at that particular time. And in 1993, heads of states met actually in Abuja, in Nigeria, to create African Export-Import Bank. In 1994, that's when the bank started its operations in Cairo, where it is headquartered. The headquarters agreement was signed with the Arab Republic of Egypt in the same year, in 1994. The first strategic plan was actually developed in 1995, that span up for a period of 5 years. And now we are in the fifth strategic plan. And I will touch a little bit of some of the exciting things we are doing in the fifth strategic plan, which commenced in 2017, and this is our last year. And we are in the times now where we are busy looking at crafting the strategy for the next strategic plan that begins in 2022. So what is our mission? Our mission is very simple. Our mandate is to actually finance trade, both intra-African trade as well as extra-African trade. So Africa trading with other continents around the world. What's our legal status? We are a multilateral international financial institution with full judicial personality and legal capacity to carry out operations in our own right. So we are registered with the United Nations, recognized as a multilateral institution. We have 156 shareholders, and these numbers I'm talking are as at the end of 2020. We have 5 branches. We have a branch in Cote d'Ivoire, in Abidjan. It serves the Francophone West Africa. We have a branch in Nigeria, in Abuja, that actually focuses on the Anglophone side of West Africa. We have another branch in Zimbabwe, in Harare, that deals with the rest of Southern Africa. We have another branch in East Africa, in Uganda, in Kampala, that serves the entire East Africa up to the horn of the continent. We recently also opened up a branch in Cameroon that will serve the central part of the continent. As we speak, we have 51 member countries, so we only have literally four to go to get for those of us that believe that is how region is a country on its own, but I'm not going to get into that politics. Let me talk about the programs that we offer to our clients. So we are a bank of the continent, and we deal with entities in the continent. And I'll talk quickly about some of the programs that we do have. So we have the receivable purchase and discounting program. This is where we discount all receivables that entities have. We also have a line of credit, so we can literally provide a line of credit to an entity for working capital, as long as the money will be used for trade that will finance. So everything must have a connotation of trade to it. We also do direct financing program, export development, and this includes also the development of soft and hard infrastructure, so enabling infrastructure that would enable trade. And I'll touch again about that when I'm quickly giving out a synopsis of our strategy, our current strategy. Project finance is also our bread and butter. We can finance projects that have a term of 12 years. Anything outside 12 years, unfortunately, we don't. However, we can actually pull out some of partners around the world who have an appetite to finance projects ahead of the 12 years period. We will be in there for the 12 years and get our partners to get the rest of the remainder of the project. So that is also possible to do as part of a structure of finance. We do asset-backed lending, so we can lend you at the back of the assets that you do have, but these must be tradable assets. Project preparation facility, so we also do that. So if you have a huge project and you want financing to prepare in preparation of that project, we also can actually help do that. We can also connect you actually to some grant giving institutions around the world. We also do a guarantee program. So this is where those that are out with Africa and they don't have the confidence to invest in the continent, literally we can handheld them. We sell them a guarantee product and shield them against political risk and whatever. The last program, which we introduced at the heart of the pandemic, was the pandemic trade impact mitigation facility, PATINFA. So this was to help all our member countries literally manage the pandemic and literally work through the pandemic challenges in an orderly manner. And I'll touch a little bit about this at the end. In terms of shareholders, Malawi is a shareholder of the bank, and we in Malawi have shares in the bank through two institutions. So the Ministry of Finance is actually the legacy shareholder of the bank from the inception of the bank's creation. And we also have the Reserve Bank of Malawi that owns also some equity into the bank. The bank has 4 types of shareholding. So the first type is Class A. Class A is the African countries and the African DFIs, including central banks. Class B is the African institutions. So we have African institutions. So if we have here entities that want an equity exposure into an African entity in US dollar, Flexing Bank would be an entity to invest in. This is Malawian private institutions. We also have Class C. Class C is international institutions. So we have banks here. Exim Bank of India is among the Class C shareholders. Exim Bank of China is as well. HSBC, Standard Chartered, Banco do Brazil, and the list is long. We also have Class D. Now, Class D shares are shares that are actually listed in Mauritius, and we have plans also to list them elsewhere out with Mauritius as well. So an institution called the SMB Securities has the shares in the bank in Class D, but what it has done, it has issued depository receipts that are broken down into smaller chunks and sold that to the crowd. So that's the ownership of the bank. We are rated by 3 credit rating agencies. GCR, our rating is A- with a stable outlook. Moody's rates at Baa1 with a stable outlook, and Fitch BBB- with a stable outlook. Let me highlight that the 2021 reviews of these credit ratings, Fitch has put us on a positive outlook, which means that if they are the key elements, some of the key elements that they've said that we achieve, if we achieve them in the next 18 months, our rating will actually improve from where it is. The same with global credit rating, GCR. Let me quickly just run through our current strategy. It's dubbed Impact 2021 Africa Transformed. This strategy has 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 is intra-African trade. One of the things that you may have noted, other Africans, is that Africa trade within itself the least in the world. Asia, I think, tops at around about 66%, and you have Europe over 42%, and possibly the Americas in the late 30s. But Africa only trades 14% amongst them. So we strongly believe that we can actually help to boost trade among African countries, among ourselves. And what are we doing on this? One of the things we've done is to create a division that actually focuses on intra-African trade. So I've been hearing here, this exposed to Europe, yes, it's great, but there are also opportunities within the continent that actually we can help our own institutions in the continent to actually broaden their trading elements. And we have 4 sub-heading or sub-pillars that help us to achieve, have what is called create. So one of the things that we've noted in Africa is Africa produces raw materials and it exports raw materials, and that has very, very little margin. So one of the things we've done is to help actually producers to produce that, yes, but also add some value on those products so that we can export value-added goods at a much more better margin. We have a subhead in there called Connect. So we are working through the Intra-African Trade Division to help entities connect each other in the continent. So providing trade leads, if I may call it. We have what is called Deliver. Deliver looks at the logistics that I think some of you were talking about. So we're able to provide financing that enables trade, so you can move goods from one country to another. Also provide guarantees where we guarantee the entire value chain movement of goods from one country to another within the continent. And the last subhead there is called Measure. At the end of the strategic period, of course, we're going to measure how we've performed this and how we grow this up to the next strategy. The second pillar is industrialization and export development. Again, where we are planning to actually help finance the hard and soft infrastructure development. We have the third pillar, which is trade finance. Trade finance is our bread and butter, and again, we are ready to finance any trade, whether you're trading out with the UK or within the continent. That's something that we do. And finally, for Ireland, I think I'm running out of time a little bit here. In response to COVID, we came up with a facility that will help our continent move in an orderly fashion into, we've actually disbursed about $6.1 billion to help the continent get equipment, get medication for COVID. So let me stop there. I had a lot to talk, but anyway, I think we can talk more in the chat room. Ask me also questions. So I'll rest there, David. Thank you.
Mr. Mwenebungu, thank you very much indeed. I think so much of what you were saying there is of great interest to everyone here. You know, I've seen that document that I've shared of why everyone is attending today's meeting, what they want to get out of it. And I think so much of what you talk about, the opportunities from your bank, I think is directly relevant. So thank you there for that detail. A quick, a few shout outs from the chat box to encourage people to keep using it before we turn to our final speaker in this panel section. Just to note, Carl Chigotho at MITC has kindly given the link at MITC, which you can book into and find out about the 5th of August Domestic Investment Forum. There's been a few questions about that, so that the link is there, MITC. We'll also share it after this event. The Honorary Consul for Malawi in the Republic of Ireland, Michael Heedon, has been flagging Irish agribusiness grants with Malawi, the Terra Viva grants. Excellent scheme. Please do click the link to find out more about how you can benefit from it. There have been questions for the Honourable Minister and Honourable Deputy Minister from Charles Howie, Wezi Maganga, and a comment from Stanley Ray, all very good contributions. Honourable Minister, if you would like to, please do have a look at the chat box there. And I see that Sydney, Charles and Easton have all put questions for Mr. Mwenebungu, but I'm going to hold fire on those and let's carry those through on the in the breakout groups, because you'll have 45 minutes to meet privately, or to meet with Mr. with Chandi. But I'm really delighted to introduce our final speaker for 5 minutes from CDC, the Director of Investments in agriculture. Why do I do this job? Why am I passionate about Malawi? It's because I grew up in Malawi, and it's very, very young in Botswana. My dad worked for CDC for 25 years. So I'm endlessly enthusiastic about CDC's work and delighted here to introduce Mr. Roman Frenkel. Roman, over to you.
Thank you, David, and very interesting to hear your family connection to our institution. Hello, everybody, Honourable Minister, ambassadors, and others. It's a pleasure to speak to you here today. Very briefly, to introduce CDC to you, CDC Group is a UK development finance institution. It's one of the oldest development finance institutions in the world, and today we have 7.2 billion of assets under management. The institution is an investment company. It's 100% owned by the UK government under the FCDO ministry, and our mandate is to invest in private businesses in Africa and South Asia. We invest in private businesses through a combination of products of equity, debt, and in funds. We are backer of majority of investment funds in Africa. In particular, in food and agriculture sector, which I cover on the equity side, our total investments in an institution today stand at more than $600 million. And we are about to enter our next 5-year investment horizon, and we are hoping to double that investment size in food and agriculture. For Malawi in particular, CDC has a long history in Malawi. It made its first investment in Malawi back in 1949, and through 70s and 80s, it supported the national seed company in Malawi. And a lot of CDC's activities in history and also today are largely in food and agriculture. Today, we have 3 direct investments in Malawi, totaling $30 million. One of them is Giacomo Estates, which is a farming business, which is growing macadamia. Then they get exported out of Malawi. We are investors in Kamponji Enterprises, which is a leading poultry business engaged in eggs, day-old chicks, and feed. and CFC going by the name of Agricane, which is a specialist sugar estate and manager. Just focusing on one of our investments on macadamia, we saw Malawi need to diversify the economy in terms of its agricultural exports away from tobacco, and we see macadamia as one of the crops that is valuable in that transition. It's an export crop. It's a crop that requires a long period to mature because it's a tree crop. So somebody like CDC is an ideal investor for the business, and it also supports a wider Malawi food and agriculture sector and export opportunity. So in terms of, I'll keep it short. David, I'm conscious that we're slightly running out of time, and we have Honourable Minister on the line and others. So I guess we can discuss more in the breakout section. Thank you very much.
Mr. Frenkel, thank you very, very much indeed. $600 million and a desire to double that in the next 5 years for food and agriculture investments. That's a fantastic opportunity to hear for Malawi. CDC's been doing powerful work in Malawi for a great many years. We had a wonderful meeting that I facilitated connecting the UK Parliament with the Scottish Parliament, in which we had the head of Mzuzu Coffee, Bernard, down in Westminster, with MPs and peers live linking to the Scottish Parliament, where we had I think the chair or chief executive of CDC, and being able to show the continuing impact that an investment the CDC made in Malawi some 30 or 40 years previously in Mzuzu Coffee, it was really quite moving. So all power to you, and let's all as a community look to be involved with CDC as they look to double their investments in food and agriculture in the next 5 years in Malawi. Mr. Frenkel, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Friends, we will finish promptly in 9 minutes or less, but I'm really keen, while we've still got so many government leaders, so many business leaders, so many civic leaders all coming together with the same agenda. How do we build Malawi UK trade and business, particularly in the agri space? I'm keen that we draw threads on a really useful day. I'll maybe share my suggestions of next steps, but I'm absolutely thrilled to pass over now to the chair of the Malawi-UK Business Group, himself a very, very successful business leader. Many of you will know a number of his businesses, who has undoubtedly brought great vision and energy to the Malawi-UK Business Group. So Edgar, delighted to hand over to you to help draw threads on what I hope has been a useful day.
Thanks so much, David. And it's been a joy you coordinating all this. I know it's not an easy task at all, but you've been fantastic. So thanks so much. And the tech behind yourself, Craig, wonderful. I must say it's been a good day. I have been into breakout sessions, and in there we've ended up running out of time. The discussions went on, and that shows the level of interest in wanting Malawi to move forward. The agri-business, this sector, is the engine of what Malawi should look like in the future. And it is exciting to see a good number of people being interested to be involved. We appreciate the government ministers, the officials who have been with us during this time. Now, what happens? As I said before, we are transitioning as a business group into a chamber of commerce. There was a question, what do we do? How can we join and become part of this? This is critical, it's very important. Alex Sukali, our executive secretary, wonderful executive secretary, he did post his details in the chat room. Alex, will you post the details again and the website address, including the Malawi-Scotland partnership? We have got contracts. These are partners in all this. So let's utilize the points of contact to reach out to everybody so that we can move forward. We are working in partnership with the MITC And this is so important that those in Malawi who would want to be a part of the future, you interact with the MITC and you can be included on the list. This does not end today. It's just the beginning. So let's keep on interacting. There is a list of delegates, all of us who have been here. We need to continue the conversation. If you have found a project or somebody who has got a project that is very interesting, make contact. It is important that you don't just sit by, because we are all wanting to do the same thing. Yes, as from a business perspective, we want to make money. We want to create lots and lots of employment opportunities. And I'm sure we will, and I know we can. So, but that will need us coming together, being joined up as a partnership. And we are here as a business group to facilitate those conversations. We are here to facilitate business linkages. The challenges that the one business faces will always be the challenge that the other faces. Let's share ideas, let's share best practice. We have a platform to do that. Make contact with the Secretariat and we can share that. I hope in the next future, not far from now, we will be having that little newsletter which we will be publishing and sending out to this list so that we are all kept abreast. Because, you know, most of the times we attend a conference or an event which is so wonderful, everybody leaves buzzing, but then there's very little that gets done. We want to be different and we can be different. So we've got to create those opportunities to look and to be different. Between ourselves here, there are business opportunities which exist. There are consultants in this group. The consultants are there, they bring knowledge and know-how. Make yourself available so that people can know you and we can look to you for such help. The profiles, if you have got a business profile, make sure you send it over to the Secretariat so that when we are updating the website, these profiles could be made available, that people would know what services or products you are involved in. It is critical because if we don't know what we are doing, we cannot buy from you. So let's do that, that we can become customers to each other first before we ask others to do so. All in all, I'm very pleased with your coming today and thanks for making this event a success. Without you, there is no event. It just exists on paper. You've made a great event. Thank you to our guest speakers, our panelists. You have been wonderful. Amazing knowledge has been shared today. I appreciate you so much, and I hope in the near future, when we come knocking on your doors, you will not hesitate to come along again, because I believe you have also enjoyed the interaction. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And I hand over to David for a final summary. Over to you, David. Thank you.
Chair, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just echoing those excellent points there. I mean, tangible next steps. That's always the risk, isn't it? You have a great conference and everyone goes home buoyed. But you know, the weekend's starting in a few hours and it's easy to forget. So what are the tangible next steps? Firstly, everyone here has got this great asset. You've got an Excel spreadsheet with about 170 lines on it. Each of those is a named individual, a business or civic leader or government leader, and it outlines what they want to achieve. And for those in Malawi, it gives their contact details. We weren't able to put contact details for those who signed up through the UK system just because of GDPR, the data protection regulation. But if there's anyone that you see on that list and there's not a contact detail for them and you want to get in contact, you can contact myself or Alex or Edgar, and we will put you in contact. So what a great opportunity. Use that spreadsheet, make those connections, as Edgar says. Also, I would like to work on an opt-out rather than opt-in basis, such that the presumption I propose is that those who have attended this meeting are interested in receiving future communications relating to Malawi-UK Business Group. So when Edgar succeeds in creating the Chamber of Commerce, that you'll get an email, this is how you join. If you don't want to receive those communications, please contact Alex or myself, and we will take you out. And at any point you can take your name off, you can unsubscribe. But I really think connecting people up is the key thing. We don't want to lose that now. So we'll be bold and have opt out there. What next? The developing countries consultation that Dave Beer, the British High Commissioner, flagged. What a great opportunity. Malawi and the UK governments are going to be agreeing a new trade relationship in the coming months and years. They want to listen to the business community. Now is the time to be heard, and that's a great channel for it. So further information to come on that, but all encouragement to feed into it. Let's make sure we're talking about what are the blockers, what are the challenges, and where are the opportunities in there. As this group becomes a Chamber of Commerce, there will be a great many exciting opportunities, and we look forward to saying more about that. And of course, there is the 5th of August Domestic Investment Forum, and then the Dubai Digital Expo between October and March. Friends, lots of opportunities for us to make tangible steps forwards. I will just put a very quick poll on the screen. It's just, I think, a couple of questions that I really appreciate your answer to. You can scroll down to see all of the options. If you could just click an answer to one of those 2 questions, how would you rate this event? And what would you feel, do you feel this event supported Malawi-UK trade? I'll keep that up while I give the final thank yous. Thank you very much to the Honourable Minister of Trade who battled connectivity issues to give his excellent speech. My thanks to the Honourable Deputy Minister of Agriculture. My thanks to the British High Commissioner and the Malawi High Commissioner, Ponda. Our 6 panellists from the Greenbelt, the Cannabis Regulatory Authority, the National Planning Commission, MITC, the Africa Export-Import Bank and CDC. My thanks to Edgar, the chair of the group, and particularly to Alex Sukali, the secretary of the group, who, if we're completely honest, this was his vision, this was his drive, and it is he more than anyone that delivered it. So I think an awful lot of kudos and credit to Alex Sukali for having the vision and delivery to make today happen. And as Edgar finished, my thanks to you for taking part as well. I like to finish these things with a little screenshot, because we haven't had the videos up so far to keep the line stable. But as we've now reached the end of the meeting, if you would like to, it's not compulsory, but please do take off your turn your video on if you want to. And it's always fun, I think, to say goodbye face to face if you would like to. And that allows me to take a screenshot. I've been very bad at tweeting through the day. So if you're happy to take your video off and we can see who's lurking behind all those black boxes as it opens up. Lots of friends that I know, many new faces as well. So thank you very much indeed for taking part so positively in a very constructive day, and really look forward to keeping the conversation going however and whenever we can. But in the meantime, when it comes, have a great weekend, and let's all work together to build those business connections. Thanks very much, everyone.